Well, services are sort of the easiest because one person can begin to provide the service and do it more or less as a custom service, and lots of software companies began as custom software development shops, and they found customers kept asking for the same thing over and over again, so they productized it. The most difficult ones are capital goods. Would you like to take a ride on the MVP of my new jet plane? It's going to be really hard to get a customer up in the air. Well, it's not quite perfect yet, but we think it's directionally correct. Not really going to work. And so sometimes you have to resort to specs and things like that. We did this with a startup inside of General Electric that was building a $60,000 industrial sodium battery that was the backup power for a cell phone tower when the electric grid went down and the generator failed. And what we did there was we showed rough sketches of what it would look like, and we had reasonable guesses as to what the performance characteristics would look like, but we were still most of a year away from having a product to deliver even for a pilot test. And the founder or the hired CEO of this division, it was every bit like any startup in this room with two exceptions. I mean, they had 8 employees, a factory with a dirt floor because they didn't know what they were going to build. The 2 exceptions were they had $100 million in seed capital, and the other one, which is probably scarier, they were told in no uncertain terms that this company would be a failure if it didn't deliver $1 billion in revenue in 2016. So while they were developing the technology and refining the physical battery, they had to figure out not only who was going to buy it, but who was going to buy it on the $1 billion timetable. And so we were able to demonstrate the power of the core technology, but all we could show was sketches of what the physical battery would look like and guesstimated weight and so forth, because people were thinking about putting them in electric vehicles and configurations like that. And also the performance characteristics, which was probably the most important part. And we got signed prototype contracts based on, if I deliver this battery to you on this date and it performs at these levels, you will pay the bill within 60 days. So that's about as close as you can get, I think. But the other end of the spectrum, you want to create something in your MVP that gives the customer a sense of what his or her experience is going to be like using the product. So something with styrofoam and duct tape, light bulb stuck in the side, a fork coming out of it, is better than a PowerPoint. Let them touch it. Let them, well, gee, this ball's a little big for, I'd like to be able to hold it in one hand. Okay, you just learned something very important. Or this thing weighs 8 pounds. Is it really going to weigh 8 pounds? Why is that a problem? You're trying to get genuine product feedback without the finished product.